Do you hear what I hear? Hey guys, and welcome back to another Random Distractions home theater update video. In my previous video on the high channels, I mentioned that they worked a lot better than expected, but they seemed to stand out a little bit more than the rest of my system. I believe that this was due to the bump in the higher frequencies, and I was going to go and adjust that and share if that helped. Just a quick recap, I decided to use audio exciters in my attic as the high channel speakers, and originally I had 2 exciters per channel, but then I bumped it up to 4 exciters per channel. For both channels, I was actually surprised at how well they worked, considering that the audio is essentially coming from the drywall. However, when listening to them, they did seem to stick out a little bit more than the rest of my system, and when I looked at the graphs in Arc Genesis, I noticed that there was a considerable bump in the higher frequencies that didn't really match the rest of my system. Here's what that looks like, and it's for both the height 1 left and height 1 right, as well as the height 2 left and height 2 right. So I know what you're thinking, oh, you have to run Arc Genesis again. Luckily, I don't have to do that. All I have to do is update my existing calibration file. First, I opened my Arc Genesis file and clicked on Adjust Settings. I went to Adjust Targets and scrolled down till I got to the height channels. From there, I increased the maximum correction frequency from 5K to 20K to both of them. And had it recalculate. Now you can see that the bump has been brought down and it has a relatively smooth response. After that, I felt that the easiest way to test them and see if that helped was to listen to a couple of Dolby demos. I had done this previously when I first put them in, and I've heard these demos quite a few times, so I'm starting to get fairly familiar with them. In the Dolby Amaze demo, I heard them most when the bird was flying around, and then also when the rain starts to fall. But this time it was a little bit more difficult to pinpoint the sound, which was good. The second demo that I ran was the Dolby Leaf demo. And on a side note, if you ever want to test out your Dolby Atmos height speakers, this is a really good demo to use because it really, uses them a lot more active than what the Dolby Amaze demo is. So it really helped me feel how more integrated they were with the rest of my system. Feeling good about those 2 demos, I decided to rewatch the car flipping over scene in The Batman, and then the final fight sequence in John Wick when the rain starts to fall. Because originally when I heard these, when I first put the high channel speakers in, is when I noticed how much more active or how much I could hear the speakers coming from the ceiling. I'm pleased to say that they are now working a lot more seamlessly. I still hear them and I still feel the effects of them, but it's not like, oh yeah, it's definitely coming from that speaker right there, It just feels more, I guess, natural. Hopefully that makes sense. What I learned from this, and it's something that's been mentioned to me before, so I always kind of keep it in the back of my mind, is that you have to trust your ears. So whether you're listening to a 2-channel system or your home theater system, trust what you're hearing and make adjustments that will help make it sound better. Arc Genesis did what it was supposed to do. The filters are set to 5000 as a default, but when I noticed that bump in the higher frequencies for the height speakers, I realized that, hey, this is kind of throwing off the experience. Luckily with Arc Genesis, there is a lot of adjustments that you can make. And this one was a fairly easy one to do, as you saw. And with that change, now my system sounds a lot better. Since then, I've watched a couple of different shows and movies and have really enjoyed the experience that these high channels bring to my system. Originally, I was really happy with the 5.2 system, and adding this 0.4 now to the end really does bring it up just a little bit more. Definitely a lot of fun hearing it now. Alright, well that's all that I have for this video. I would definitely appreciate a like, of course, on this one. And make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when the next one drops. Until then, I hope you have a good one.